source for local information delivered by local announcers since 1922. We're your big friend, 570 WNAX.
Good morning and welcome back to your morning 5-State Farm Report. Danielle Drotzman, your host here for 570 WNAX. This morning report is being brought to you by Axiom Neuropathy Institute in Sioux Falls. So thanks for them for bringing you your morning 5-State Farm Report. So as we continue throughout your program here today, we have a special guest that we're excited to welcome on and visit with here today. We have Warren Rusche. He is an SDSU Extension Feedlot Management Specialist. So Warren, thank you for joining us here on WNAX. And how are you doing today?
Danielle, I'm doing great. Really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for inviting me. Really enjoy the opportunity to visit with your listeners.
Absolutely. Well, here in our Yankton area, we actually got some rain last night. So how about up in Brookings? Did you guys get some of what we got down here?
We didn't,
No.
or at least we didn't at my house in Arlington, but, it's been kind of spotty, and, I'm just thankful anyone is getting some because I think we all can use it, and I'm glad you guys got some rain.
Yes, absolutely.
And maybe it's our turn tonight.
Yes, we'll hope so. We'll hope for that for sure. So, we've kind of had a little bit of a cool stretch here in the weather. We've been seeing a lot of heat here as, it is the hottest part of the summer, welcome to July. But I guess when we talk about, cattle and feeding cattle, it's not necessarily fun to feed cattle when it's hot. And, you want them to keep gaining. But a lot of times, when it's hot, you don't necessarily like to eat too. So I guess what is your number one piece of advice, when it comes to feeding cattle in the summer?
Yeah, at this point when we're dealing with hot weather right now, the biggest thing I'm concerned about is making sure we have enough water, both in terms of drinking space, because we really don't want them standing around all day, but then also enough delivery capacity. Can we deliver enough water to all of the pens to satisfy what they need? Because, kind of a, shocking grasp of the obvious, when it's hot, cattle drink more. And then we have to be in a position to be able to provide that. And so in some cases, bringing in some extra watering tanks, there's all kinds of creative solutions. I know of people that have taken those steel tanks and plugged the ends up and use those as emergency water sources. I know people that have two sets of waters. They use them both in the summer, and then in the winter they shut one of them off so they don't have to pay the electric bill on that particular water. Whatever approach we want to do, right now that's probably the key thing. Things like shade, sprinklers, those are more long-term. As you and I talked off the air, I'm a big fan of shade structures, but we may not be able to pull that off here in the next day or two. But maybe we keep it in mind as a potential place to put some, make some additional investments down the road. And then finally, the last thing is, manage feed deliveries. As you really accurately pointed out, whether it's cattle or us, when it's hot, we don't want to eat as much. And so we need to adjust how much feed we're delivering to the cattle. I think that does a lot to help us keep those cattle out of trouble. One thing we've noticed in our research yard is we have a particular study going on right now where we're feeding more or less roughage in a finishing diet, 9 or 12%. And the cattle that are feeding just a little more roughage, they're holding their intake better, which, seems a little odd. Think about, less roughage, less heat to break that down. But we think what it is maybe just less fuel, and they're able to tolerate heat just a little better. I think that's an area we need to look at a little more. But really just anything we can do to keep intakes as consistent as we can, whether that's shifting towards more feeding later in the day, trying to match up feed intake with the lower temperatures, maximizing wind flow. If there's pens that are more open, that's where we probably ought to have the biggest, fattest cattle on feed. Those kind of animal husbandry trips are, really the best we have in terms of helping us help our cattle get through this latest heat wave.
Yeah, For sure. And kind of when I was kind of preparing for this interview a little bit, I was, thinking about, you want your cattle to keep gaining, but it's hot. And, there's ways that you can, keep them gaining. And I guess implants kind of popped into my mind. And I know a lot of people, there's kind of some controversy, quote unquote controversy around implants. Like some people do it, some people don't. I thought it was just kind of a different topic we could talk about here. So I guess in your opinion or through research at SDSU, have you is there, I don't want to say like a way to do it? Like, is it better to implant or not? I know there's a lot of, people have their opinions, but I mean, through research at SDSU or studies, I mean, what's your thoughts there on just implants?
So, I'll start with the research part of that, and there's probably not much of anything we've done in beef cattle production historically over the last 50 plus years. It's been studied more than implants. Bottom line is they work. If we provide enough, if we've got cattle that are healthy with good genetics and provide the right diet, we're going to see a response. And the response is better with better cattle. It's a percentage of performance. And so, from a
Oh, and I think we might have lost him there. So we will take a quick break and we'll jump back into it here. So stay tuned.
Steve is making it easy for fall foliage. If you've already seen the fall foliage of New England, you will be completely amazed by the fall foliage of the Smoky Mountains. On this getaway in late October, we fly into Atlanta, and then from there, we'll visit Savannah, Georgia, Charleston, South Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina, and more. You'll visit Fort Sumter, the Biltmore, the Magnolia Plantation, and several other stunning sights. Details at WNEXtrips.com.
Farmers, ranchers, are you dragging through your day? Stressed out? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, they help high-performance men optimize their energy focus and stress levels with physician-led testosterone, peptide, weight loss, and erectile dysfunction treatment plans that work around your schedule. No insurance headaches, just results. Now serving Dakota Dunes and Sioux Falls. Take back control. Visit Game Day Men's Health and start showing up as your best self in the fields and beyond.
And welcome back to your morning 5-State Farm Report. I have Warren Rusche back with us. I think we just lost him on the phone. So I guess, Warren, if you want to jump back into where you were, go for it here.
Yeah, the wonders of live radio and cell phones. Bottom line is implants work. So now the question is, what, from a dollars and cents standpoint, what makes the most sense? And my answer would be, just make sure your marketing channel pays you for the pounds you're giving up. We know that on fat cattle, a good lifetime implant program, we should pick up 80 or so pounds of carcass weight. We just need to make sure then, and an according amount of live weight, we just need to make sure that then we're getting enough price improvement in order to make that work. To me, that is a business choice that cattle producers and ranchers and cattle feeders need to make. It doesn't make any difference to me which one they choose. I just want them to choose the one that puts the most money in their pocket.
Absolutely. All right. And then I guess before we let you go here today, just ask for extension and you guys there, any events coming up in the near future, any educational things or whatever it may be that we should kind of keep on our radar.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I think the next thing that we're doing that, where we're going to be able to rub shoulders with producers is going to be Dakota Fest, which is coming up before we know it. We're going to have, from a beef standpoint, about 3 different days of, a formal program. On the first day of Dakota Fest, my colleague Robin Salverson is going to be doing a beef quality assurance program. So if anyone in the listening area, if they know that certification is coming up, here's a great opportunity to get that taken care of while you're at Dakota Fest. Myself and Taylor Grusing are going to be talking on Wednesday. We're really both focusing on how do we, managing, cattle this summer and with the things going on from a price standpoint. Taylor's going to be talking about strategic preg checking so that we figure out what to do with the open cows in a way that makes the most sense, given that cattle are valuable, but grass might be short. And I'm going to be talking about what are we going to do going into the fall, whether we're weaning our own calves or purchasing some others. And then finally on Thursday, Julie Walker and John Yeager are both going to be talking about limit feeding cows and dry lots and managing open females, really trying to target what's going to go on with feed supplies. Those are all going to happen midday at the livestock tent in Dakota Fest. And so I think from roughly speaking, 11 a.m. to 12:30 for the BQA, and then I think our program is about 11:30 to 12:30. But either way, look for us in the livestock tent. And of course, our whole team is going to have people at the SDSU tent as well, and shouldn't forget about the ice cream every afternoon.
Absolutely. Sounds like a busy day and a lot of great educational opportunities for our listeners. So, Warren, thank you for joining us today, even despite of the cell phone difficulties. So you have a great rest of your day. So thank you.
You as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Again, that's Warren Rusche. He is the SDSU Extension Feedlot Management Specialist joining us here today on your morning 5-State Farm Report. Well, we'll take a quick break here, and then we'll be back with a quick look at your markets here before the end of the hour.
Join the fun July 25th for the Alpena Fire Department annual tractor pull, a fundraiser for the Alpena Fire Department.